everyone, I'm Cadet Jackie Knopfsinger. I'm a Russian major and I'll be going into my senior year at UK. And today, Cadet Patterson, who will be introducing herself in a later slide, and I are going to be talking to you all about time management. It is basically just how you divide up your time in a day. So in college, that's just going to look like the amount of time that you spend in class, studying, doing homework, working if you have a job, going to the gym, hanging out with friends, and self-care. So if you have good time management, you're going to be able to get a lot more done in less time. So you'll have a lot more free time and you won't be as stressed. But if you have poor time management, you might miss deadlines, you'll be a lot more stressed, and you won't have as much free time. If you have good time management, you're going to be a lot more productive, and because of that, you're going to have a much more professional reputation. Just because it looks better if you're able to accomplish things by the deadline, you're going to look a lot more organized. And because of that, you're going to be a lot less stressed. You'll also have more opportunities just because you'll have time for them. So an example of good time management that is probably going to be really relevant for you all in the next semester would be final projects. So you really don't want to be the person who's trying to write like a 15-page paper in one night. It doesn't work, it's miserable, I've done it, not fun. So one thing you could do is when you start classes, you'll get a syllabus and you can look through it and you'll see whether or not your final is going to be a paper or a project or a test. So if it's a test, maybe just study some every couple weeks, make sure you're retaining the information, that way you're not trying to cram like the night before your test. If it's a project or a paper, I usually just try to set small deadlines and goals for myself. Like maybe 1 week I'll try to do the research and then an outline. And then by the time finals week rolls around, instead of trying to write an entire paper, maybe you're just editing. And that's just something that's helped me a lot over the past few years as far as not losing my mind during finals week. On the flip side of that, if you have bad time management, you might miss deadlines or you won't be as efficient. You'll take a lot more time than someone with good time management to finish an assignment. So maybe you're trying to write a paper and you keep getting distracted by your phone or Netflix. It happens to me all the time. But if you find that happening to you consistently and you're missing assignments because of it, maybe try to work in some more free time into your schedule. That way you have time to watch Netflix, and then you still have time set aside to write your paper. And the work that you turn in, if you have bad time management, just isn't going to be as good because going back to the paper example, the 15-page paper that you wrote in a night isn't going to be as good as the 15-page paper that you spent 3 weeks on. You're not going to be as sleep deprived when you're writing it. You'll have more time to edit. So what you turn in is going to look a lot more professional and it's going to reflect a lot better on you if you do have that good time management. And also if you have bad time management, you're just going to be stressed all the time. So a personal example of mine of a time that I had bad time management and it didn't really work for me was actually at the beginning of fall semester last year. So I got a job and at first it wasn't bad. I was just working like 20 hours a week. It worked really well with my school schedule. I still had free time. I was still turning assignments in on time. But then I started picking up a lot more shifts, so I got to the point where I was working like 40 or 50 hours a week, sometimes a little bit more than that. And it got to the point where I would get up at 4:30 in the morning and I would go to work, and then from work I would go to class, and by the time I got back, like, I did not want to do schoolwork. I didn't want to do anything except for sleep. So I got to the point where I was really behind on all of my assignments. It wasn't good. I didn't have time to do anything, really. Like, my lunch consisted of chugging a coffee and shoving a cheese Danish in my face on my way between work and class. And honestly, I just wasn't taking any time to look after myself. So I ended up cutting back my work schedule. It took me like halfway through the semester to realize that that was the problem, and I needed to reevaluate how I was spending my time and spend maybe a little less time at work, a little more time doing homework or even just like spending time by myself. Self-care is really important, and if you aren't taking care of yourself, you're not going to be able to do assignments as well as you would like. And especially if you're not sleeping enough, you're just going to be miserable. So self-care is something that you really need to make sure that you're adding time in your schedule for. A really short quiz on time management, and it'll just ask you about 15 questions about your daily practices and how you manage your time, and it'll give you a score on how well the quiz thinks your time management is. And then at the end of it, it'll give you different tips on how you can have better time management, and it'll tell you your scores from different subsections like procrastination and scheduling and goal setting. So this is just a really neat tool to see where you're at now as far as time management goes, and maybe have a few ideas on how to improve.